We see the work of the ubiquitous unseen hand here. Its invisibility made possible because of the utter lack of accountability and transparency in governance. Because of this, not only do we see the substitution of the rule of law by the rule of men, but we see the entire system and process of governance being turned to its head. Without accountability, those who wield power can get away with anything. Contracts and projects worth millions of ringgit or even hundreds of millions are doled out without regard to proper and due process. There are also ventures which have cost the nation billions, and when they fail, the ones responsible for the fiasco not only go unpunished, but actually get to benefit from it. We may shake our heads in utter disbelief, but the reality is staring us in the face. That is why taking justice seriously is no longer an option, but an imperative. As government in power, we must hold to account those who wield that power. The moral imperative lies not in accountability for the sake of political expediency, but in the dictates of justice. Access to information is essential to enable citizens to challenge actions of public officials and to seek redress for misconduct. While freedom of information laws will secure open government by fiat, the question remains as to why the moral imperative seems to evaporate along the corridors of power. In this regard, I am proud to say that the Selangor state government have passed the Freedom of Information enactment in spite of the obstacles thrown in its path. This is part and parcel of Pakatan Rakyat reform agenda. In terms of governance, we shall not compromise on accountability and transparency. We see what is wrong, we make good, and we have to move forward. They say that this enactment is bad law because it contradicts the Official Secrets Act. On the contrary, we say that it is the Official Secrets Act which is bad law because it violates the basic guarantees of the Federal Constitution. And more importantly, in the context of justice, we believe we are on the right side of the moral argument because there is nothing to hide. Why is there a need to keep secrets? If we can defend our actions, why do we need to hide behind secrecy laws? The amassing of wealth through corrupt means, the abuse of executive power for material gain, the squandering of taxpayers' money, these are some of the hallmarks of the failure to have accountability, and they impact directly on the question of justice. In Islam, the idea of social justice, or adalah ijtimaiyah, enjoins upon the equitable distribution of wealth while protecting the higher objectives of the Sharia, al-maqasid al-Sharia. Among these is the safeguarding, preservation of property, that is, protecting the wealth of the community from being pillaged and plundered by those in power. By extension, good economic governance is a moral imperative, and any government which prides itself as being responsible to the people must be committed to a sound and balanced economic agenda. This is why we have a reform agenda in Pakatan Rakyat that aims at reducing the socio-economic inequities of the people while at the same time promoting healthy economic growth. In this agenda, we welcome domestic and foreign private sector investments initiatives, generate full employment opportunities, and ensure robust development that adds long-term value to the economy. But we will have no truck with the rent-seeking practices, crony capitalism, or ostentatious and wasteful development of our predecessors. Sustainable development is not a mere numbers game. As an integral part of the notion of justice, development must proceed on an even keel with other elements so as to enhance the quality of life and uplift the dignity of all. We are not saying that this can be achieved at the blink of an eye. Indeed, with federal power still concentrated in the hands of an elite few, the odds are heavily stacked against us. The path ahead is fraught with danger and obstacles. But despair not. Let us fortify our resolve to take justice seriously and fight for the future of our generations. For in the words of Anatole France, we will win because we are right and because reason is on our side.
It is with mixed feelings that I'm giving these closing remarks. On the one hand, we are relieved, we are glad to usher in the conclusion of what can generally be agreed to have been a successful Malaysian Law Conference. We have taken the opportunity to reflect on various aspects of the law in progress. We have taken stock of their contribution to the development of our nation. We have been challenged, cajoled, and constructively criticized. And so we look back with deep appreciation to all those who have contributed to the success of this event and are pleased that this has gone well in the past 3 days. Yet, on the other hand, it's a tinge of sadness that we bid goodbye to all of you, delegates of the Malaysian Law Conference 2010, without whom this conference would not have been the equivalent, of the sound of one hand clapping. This conference has been noteworthy on many levels. The number of delegates who registered reached 450. There were 37 sessions, including 9 plenary sessions, and at least 16 foreign and 70 local speakers. The contents of the conference has been no less remarkable, with a diverse range of topics covered within the 3 tracks of corporate and commercial, human rights and constitutional issues, and legal practice. In organizing one law conference like this is no mean feat. Try organizing 2 conferences back to back. As the Bar Council hosted the 21st Presidents of Law Associations in Asia earlier this week, one of the most difficult issues we had to deal with, a lot of heated discussion, heated arguments, should we not, what should we do, what is the right thing to do. It was a difficult decision, many sleepless nights, and it was a tough decision, but we had to make the right decision. Was it going to be Ning Bai Zura or Cik Murad for tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, on the way up, as we've taken Dr. Anwar Ibrahim up to the meeting room, he'd asked a copy of Justice Pikobo's speech, and I said, yes, for a fee that can be arranged. Dr. Sri turned to Siva and said, Siva, can you tell him how much I charge for one speech that I give? And then I told Siva, Siva, can you tell Dr. Sri how much we lost in sponsorship and money because we invited It was the easiest decision to do. It was a unanimous decision of the Bar Council. It was a great pleasure to do the right thing, and we did the right thing by inviting you. And despite the formidable challenges, I must say, ladies and gentlemen, with very little objectivity and a great deal of bias, I admit, that this 15th Malaysian Law Conference is the best so far in the history of the Malaysian Bar. And this is in spite of the fact that I had to give a long 30-minute opening address. You would like to think, or you might think that as the President of the Malaysian Bar, I would have more say in terms of what I want to do and what I don't want to do. But the organizing chairperson's persuasiveness prevailed. And perhaps, fortunately, the President has very little discretion. when all is said and done. The Secretariat of the Malaysian Bar is really the driving force. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to the Secretariat. My sincere thanks goes to Lim Chiwi, the Vice President, the Deputy Organizing all members of the Organizing Committee who have done a fantastic job. Numerous volunteers, students, pupils, young lawyers who have contributed so much of their time. As it is often said, all good things must come to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, we bid you goodbye, and until we meet again at the next Malaysian Law Conference, if not before. Thank you, and to those attending the gala dinner later tonight, please enjoy your evening. Thank you.